How to get your ideal client or customer to say yes to you. For 30 years, this is actually something that people have asked me time and time again. Oh, you speak so great. I can never do what you do. I can never speak in front of people. I could never give presentations. I could never sell. Like that seems to be a theme. And a lot of times when I speak to people, especially when we're either doing one-to-one coaching or I'm at a presentation for their group, which is all things that I love to do, this comes up quite a bit where people pick a niche and then they're like, oh, it's so oversaturated because as they start leaning into their voice, as they start leaning into the business that they were wanting to do and just loving it, and then they're like, oh, it seems like everybody's doing it. It's because you're attracting in those initial stages the other people who are closely doing what you're doing. This is this ability for us to actually speak and attract to us our ideal clients. And when we're first starting out, for a lot of people, they think then that they're attracting in competition. And oh my gosh, everybody's doing this, and I'm here to tell you that's just not true. Your genius is still your genius. The three things that you really need to do to be getting a yes from anyone is to really know you. Know that you're unique, know that you're different from other people, and that your message will land a little bit differently than someone else's. So for example, a few years ago when I held my first summit, I had a lady on there who she was selling very closely to what I was doing. Close, okay? And at first, when I saw her and other people had recommended her to be on my summit, I'm like, I think she's too close to what I'm doing, like too much the same, right? Even I had this thinking came up. Oh, it's too close. We're just too much alike in what our audience is. And then I had these other dumb thoughts like, well, what if they buy from her and not from me? And things like that. So, and her name's Jane, by the way. And if you're watching this, Jane, at any point in the future, I love you so much. And when I talked to Jane and asked her to be on the summit, because I thought, what, this is just, again, little gremlins that get up into our mind of our audiences and how we serve them. And I thought, what, she was recommended for a reason. So I had a chat with Jane, and she does sales as well. So she speaks authentic heart-centered sales. But the thing is that her audience is very similar to mine, but not at all. So she likes working with women who are a little bit more into the sales process and they've already gotten teams. And then she helps the teams with the sales, right? I'm a little bit more individual sales and people who want to be solopreneurs, small business owners, maybe people who are even trying to figure out what that looks like for them. So we have sales in both of our strategies and our authorities, but we come at it at very, very different ways. And I'm so glad that I didn't listen to my own inner little voice going, no, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Because we have collaborated on a few things together. And Jane's step in the sales process is a little bit different than mine. I like dealing and teaching and training women who are awakening up to who they are and that they need to have sales conversations. She's a little bit more at the finished product of sales, where she's tweaking people's sales and helping them scale. Not really what I like to do, right? So when we have this in our thinking that we either need to change who we are or there's too much competition, knowing yourself is a little bit more deeper than that, because when you have conviction of what you love to do and that you're here on this planet to do it, and there's a voice in you saying, maybe there's more, then you need to go a little bit deeper into who you are. And once you get that down pat, that you are unique, who you are here to serve is unique, you'll start getting the right yeses. They'll just start coming to you so beautifully. And you can do it through a variety of different ways. I have tools that I use to help people identify this. And, my two favorite tools are using personality and human design. And for those of you who are on Substack and trying to create in ways that are authentic to you, I also have another tool that I use, that's Zettelkasten. And this is really tapping into, again, just your three pillars. Who are you? Who are you here to serve? And how do you speak to them to get an authentic yes? I've had a lot of people who have said yes to either my programs, my structuring, how I do things. And then as we've started working together, I realized, I think they said yes from a wrong place for them. And we very kindly then ended either our sessions or we chose not to go forward mutually. And that was correct too. Okay? When you're first starting out, you may have some yeses that aren't really your ideal client, customer, person that you're supposed to be here with. But you won't know until you start doing. And I think that most of us have this fear of, well, what if I put it out there and they don't like it? True enough, not everyone's going to like you, and that's fine. That means that they're just not your person that you're here to connect with. Maybe you're only supposed to connect with that person for a couple of months. But the people who are really wanting to know themselves, this isn't a fly-by-night thing that I do with people. Knowing yourself takes time. You've been given clues for your whole existence, actually, from the time that you were a child. You've been giving these clues. And it's up to you to recognize, see what those clues are, what they're supposed to do for you. It can be messy sometimes. Some people in either personality or in their human design don't really like the messy part. But it wasn't until that I even realized that I was literally designed to make a lot of mistakes so that I could tell people, hey, don't make the same mistake that I did. I tried it this way. It did not work. What worked for me was this. And because that I've been able to go through all of those different type of experiences, people who are the right people for me, they'll ask me something and then all of a sudden like, oh yeah, I had this experience happen once. I'll use going on stage as an example. Everything that could go wrong speaking on stage has probably happened to me, including one time that I actually had my pantyhose go right down to my ankles on stage in front of 800 people. I was supposed to be scheduled speaker for a conference, and one of my girls that was on my team is really, really hot July, and that was one of the requirements back then. Nowadays, I don't know what the requirement would be. Probably whatever you're comfortable with. But on this particular event, it was dress code. Okay? And I just remember saying, I don't wear pantyhose that much, and it's going to be so hot, and what can I do? So one of the girls, like I said, on my team had mentioned these pantyhose that you put them above the knee, and they have like you just pull them up like individual. Like, great, that sounds wonderful. And then on stage, one of them went whoop, right down to my ankle. And the funny thing was is that I didn't even miss a beat with what I was speaking about. I'm like, oh, there's my pantyhose. And so I took off the other one, put them both into my pocket. Carried on. like nothing happened. Because I realize that as I'm speaking, technology breaks down around me. Things often go wrong, but it's from those mistakes that people then kind of remember who you are. Because for the next several years, when I was at that conference, people remembered that. Oh, you're the lady whose pantyhose fell down to her ankles, and they're like, it was pretty funny, but then they remember who I am too. They're like, and you didn't lose your cool. Like, I would have cried. It's what a lot of them said. Like, whatever. It happens. Life goes on. And so when people are looking at this as to who they connect to, right? Those people who thought it was funny were the ones that connected to me. The ones who were like, I loved the fact that something went wrong, but you continued anyways. Those are my people. The people who can recognize that right now things might look messy, but you're really wanting to know more of who you are. You're my people. If I'm speaking to you right now and this is resonating, you're the she that I'm supposed to connect with. You don't have to wait for things to be perfect to start. Just start. And the more that you use this, the more you use your voice, the more you speak, things that are important to you, the more it's going to resonate with other people, and they're going to say yes to you. But you have to say it in your voice. Whenever I've tried to be someone else, a mentor or guru, one of my teachers, one of my coaches, one of my trainers, and by the way, I always pay at least 2 different people, and I have for 30 years. These are the 2 people that I pay for. I always pay for a business coach, and I always pay for a life healing coach. Okay? Because I've learned over the years that my health can be good and then my business falters, or my business can be great and my health falters. And it's why I've loved teaching one of my new favorite things, which is human design, because right in your design, both those elements are right there, right? Your body side and your design side, right? What people see and what you're made here to do, who you're supposed to be. And so with this, we have right now this week, so that's why I wanted to jump on here real quick, is that we have the Freak to Genius line in the energies this week. And go figure that all last week I was talking about genius. I wasn't actually aware that this was coming in for this week, this energy. And so all my life I have taught and spoken to, and if you're her, wonderful. I'm glad that you're listening. I've always talked and spoken to really, really smart women who usually have their PhDs in several different things. And they have the thinking down pat. They know on paper what it all should look like, but they're just not getting that yes. They have the genius part, but they haven't been able to tap into how to feel to make the other person feel, basically, right? So if this is you, I really want to connect with you. I'll be doing my podcast tomorrow, and we'll be away for most of this week, traveling and going and seeing one of our grandsons is turning 3 this week, so we're going to be going out and seeing him. But I want to be here a little bit more present for you here, just to connect, just for you to know that you are felt, seen, and heard. The first time that I heard feminine marketing, I come from a world where, yes, there's a lot of, I love teaching, training, coaching, working with women in business, but they are usually coached and trained by a lot of men, right? In a lot of women businesses, there are usually the CEOs of the company, or those who make the most money in them seem to be men. And then with this masculine energy, a lot of women tend to lead out with that masculine, here's my stuff, buy my stuff. And women don't want that, you know? Women want to be, they'll pay more for a better service experience and to know that they're taken care of. You know, when I was doing my personality workshop a couple of months ago, end of March, it was so validating to a lot of the people who were there that when they speak to people, so knowing themselves, but when they're doing that third part, so know yourself, know who you're here for, and then know to speak the language that they want to be served in, it was so eye-opening for a lot of people because they had this recognition that how I'm speaking, right, knowing yourself, is important. And then they got the idea, oh, right, and who I'm here to serve, who I'm meant to be with, whether it's your spouse, your children, your parents, those ones, you're not really maybe given a lot of choice with those, like, but then your coworkers or people that you are supposed to connect with, but then really how to speak their language. Like my husband doesn't really know too much about the tools that I use, but I know how to speak to him so that, yes, we both get a yes out of it. And I know how to speak in a way that he feels validated and served, right? Like it's really important for him when he informs me of something that I thank him for it. Not just, oh dear, I heard you. Like it's validating for him when he informs me of something. I'm like, oh right, I forgot about that. Thank you for telling me. I'll make sure that I write it down or put it where we both could see it. And in this way, it can remove a lot of friction. And that's what you want. That's how you actually get people to be saying yes to you, is removing the friction, but removing it in such a way that they don't feel that they were like sold to. They want to have this feeling of, oh, that person knows me. They know what makes me want to say yes. They know what keeps me up at night. And to help you do this, I have been rolling out, and it'll be coming April 1st. So for those who want to get on the list for it, I have a monthly newsletter that will be delivered to you so that you can go a little bit deeper into this. Because this is not, and I am not a put the popcorn in the microwave and you'll get results tomorrow person. The things that I've been learning, teaching, and doing has been my experience over 30 years. There's going to be some things for sure that you will go, oh my gosh, I've got to put that into use right now because that's going to help me today. But overall, getting to know yourself and those three things, getting to know yourself, getting to know who you're here to serve, and learning how to speak the love language so they say yes, that's not something that you just can learn today. There's going to be pieces of it, absolutely. But it's going to be something that's going to take time. But here's the thing. Learning about you is super fun. And when I chose 6 years ago to really go deep into knowing who is Jody, who am I, and it has allowed so much more freedom in my life, because that's one of the very first things that I value is freedom. And I've been teaching about freedom for 30 years, right? It's a value. It's one of my values that I love to share. You might have a value of legacy. So what you maybe value legacy, setting roots, having that for your family could be a great value for you. And we'll get to learn this together. You will be taken care of, and you'll have a lot of fun doing this, because getting to know you, this first step, is so wonderful. All right. So, anyways, I'm going to end this now, and we will see you tomorrow on the podcast.